Allen, in watching the Cowboys 49ers game, I was impressed in how San Francisco was able to, shut down CeeDee Lamb. I think that Amari, you guys jumped out to an early lead with them in week 3. How much will the way those guys played against the Rams and the Cowboys help you guys prepare on what you're going to see Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had a really good game for both teams. I think for us going forward, we know that they're probably not going to play the same way just because of who we got back there slinging the rock around and everything. So I think, we go into every week preparing the same way. This is the team's tendencies. This is what they kind of they strive in. This is what their strengths is, the third down tendencies. But we all know, having Aaron, every defensive coordinator, they're always going to drop something new that we didn't have really in the game plan. So I think, just being here for the past few years playing with Aaron, it's prepared me for that in that situation. I mean, obviously, whenever we're out in Baltimore, they doubled Devontae like that. And they've never done that all year. So we just got to stay locked in, stay ready, and just be able to adjust on the fly.
Steve McGargy.
I was just wondering, when you talked to us a couple weeks ago, you had said that you had made some changes on and off the field that kind of led to this improved production. I was just wondering if you could kind of go into specifics. What are some of the major things that you did that you kind of attribute to your improved performance late this season?
Yeah, just little things. Waking up at a consistent time, going to bed at a consistent time, really just being focused and locked in on my eating rather than eating kind of 3-4 big meals throughout the day and snacking, just sticking to those 4 meals or 3 meals, whatever it may be, cutting off when I'm eating at night, reading more. That's something I've really taken upon myself, just doing other things outside of football to occupy my free time, to challenge my mental space. In that aspect, there's a lot of other things as well, but that's a long list of things.
Brian Wood.
Allen, I was going to kind of ask something along those lines. When you just look at the late season run that you've been on, it's been pretty astounding. It seems like you've kind of maybe taken your game to another level. Does it feel that way for you? And why do you think that is? Why do you think you've been able to string together this consistent success that you've had?
I think the biggest thing is just opportunity. I feel like I've got a lot more opportunities in this back half of the season with everything. And then just seizing those moments. I think after the Rams game, I was just very down on myself. Wasn't pleased with my performance, and just me being who I am and knowing the situations of my career, my future, and all that. It's just having to just focus in a little bit more. Eliminate things that could be distractions from my daily life, and just kind of really focus in. I feel like I've been playing really good football, but I think throughout my entire career, I've always played better as the season progresses. So just keeping that mindset, keep on growing, keep on adapting. The relationship that I've had with Aaron has kept growing on and off the field. So obviously it's a huge part of my success and will continue to be. But yeah, just staying focused, not getting too worried about things that I can't control. And just staying locked in. We're here in Green Bay. I don't do much, but I'm either here in the facility or I'm in my basement back at my house. So just utilizing the most of my free time.
Darius Joshua.
Hey, Alan, kind of following up with that as well. How important was it for you to have those last 4 or 5 weeks of the season where you're consistently producing in that way, building that trust with Aaron, as you said, and how does that make you sort of feel entering this playoff push with potential where you're able to contribute more than what you've done in, simply blocking or being on special teams as well?
Yeah, I think it's been huge, just building that trust with Aaron, of just feeling like knowing that when I'm running routes, there's a better chance of him throwing me the ball in certain situations, everything, and just, really just locking in, just kind of focusing in on those smaller details in my routes, situations, what he's thinking, and ultimately just going out there and making plays. I think that's really what it comes down to. I think a lot of the plays that I've made this back half of the season aren't anything spectacular out of the ordinary. It's just doing the little things right and just staying focused and locked in. So just continue doing that going forward, especially these next few games.
Mike Spofford.
Hey, Alan, I know you're talking a lot about what's going on this year. I want to ask you something about last year, if you don't mind. Last season, you started out really strong, then you get hurt, you miss a bunch of games, you come back, and you're playing regularly, but not a lot of big splash plays or big highlights or anything. Then in the playoff game against the Rams, 58-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. So my question is, based on how last season went, like how did you know that you'd be ready for that moment if it came your way?
Always been ready for the moment. That's going back to 2019, and I remember catching my first touchdown from Tim Boyle versus the Texans week 1 of preseason, and just like it just all made sense then. I'm just being ready for that moment, because the play that we called in that situation wasn't necessarily the play, the what am I looking for? When we call that play, it's not necessarily like we want to call that play on that side of the 50. We think we were like on the 30, 40-yard line. We got it out with the post concept, and it's just like more so just like learning that opportunities are going to present itself eventually, and you just have to be able to seize them. So just not getting too high with the highs and not too low with the lows when the ball's not coming my way. I'm not able to make plays, of just, understanding that it's eventually going to come back. And I think, just having that mindset on the field and then carrying it off the field as well. So like just anything that hits you in life, you show up late to a meeting, you don't pay your bills on time, you get pulled over, it's things that just kind of like you would see as negative things in your life, just not letting those negative events kind of carry out throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your month, or whatever it may be, of just owning that moment, digesting it, and just being able to progress from there.
Mark Daniels.
Hey, Alan, you got me?
Yep.
Hey, Alan, I'm going to go back to the Viking game, night game, cold weather. What did you think of the footing on the tundra, and how do you think the understanding of that footing will help you Saturday night?
Yeah, I think the groundskeeping crew has done a phenomenal job all year. I think this year, out of all 3 of my years here, the field has been at its best consistently throughout the whole year. Given that Sunday night game versus the Vikings, I think that was the worst it had been all year, but I think it was also because we had played there the week before, being on Christmas night or Christmas Day and everything. So just a shorter turnaround for them and everything, but the field was still great condition, and playing here, understanding the field. We practice outside every day of just, understanding my center of gravity, my body control of where to put my feet when I'm trying to make these routes, run these routes and cut and everything. So I'm expecting the same field, if not a better field, come Saturday, and obviously we will use that to our advantage.
Rob Domofsky.
Hey, Alan, how you doing?
I'm good.
Hey, we were out at practice for like 10 minutes today, and just trying to take attendance, my fingers were just frozen. How in the hell do you guys catch that football? I know you're wearing gloves or whatever, but like, how do you catch that football, and what does it feel like in this kind of weather?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, the cold adds more challenges when running routes, getting hit, tackled, catching the ball, your concentration. But at the end of the day, it's just the will to do it. I mean, I think for me, I can speak for myself. Like, I know when those checks come in next week, they feel good and everything. So kind of have that in the back of your mind, and, knowing where I want to be when the time comes when I got to hang up my cleats. I don't think cold can be a factor into determining, the outcome, so to speak. So it's just staying focused, staying ready for the moment. And, it's an advantage. I use it as an advantage. That's why we don't wear sleeves. And that's why we love playing here at home, because it's a tough environment to play in. And if you're able to adapt to those elements and everything, then you're going to have the leg up on your opponent. And we've clearly had that here this year, and we'll hopefully continue that these next few games.
Jason Wilde.
Hey, Alan, it's no surprise you're tougher than Rob and me, that's for sure. Hey, we've talked now the last 2 times you've done this about your production in the passing game, and that's awesome, and you've been really good talking about it. But let's get back to how you kind of made your reputation around here. How important is it that you guys, as an offense, run the ball effectively here in the postseason? You guys were really productive in that Rams game last year, and then obviously score and everything else. You guys didn't run a lot. You lost Aaron Jones to the injury against Tampa. Just how vital is that to you guys being at your best offensively?
It's huge. I think running the ball is a staple to our offense. And even obviously having Aaron back there, who's the best person to ever pick up a ball and throw it, it's a huge help. You would love to pass the ball every down, but being able to run the ball effectively will open up those windows, open up, get you in more man coverage situations to be able to have bigger passing plays to open up your playbook a little bit more. If you can't run the ball, you're going to get yourself in third and long situations, allowing the defense to blitz, let those D linemen get in their track star stance and be able to kind of get after the quarterback, get off the pocket and everything. So we got to stay up in front of the chains, those first two downs, staying consistent, be able to run the ball. And, we've obviously done that very well here. Speaking, towards your question, I've obviously been a huge part of that with my blocking ability and everything, but I'm just trying to make myself diverse. That way the defense doesn't know if I'm blocking, if I'm sifting, if I'm sliding, if I'm running a deep route, am I running a short, quick game? You know what I'm saying? So that's something I've really kind of focused on with my game, is just being able to make myself fluid in any position possible.
Steve?
Just to touch on a couple of things you mentioned earlier. First, no sleeves. Is that the plan for you for Saturday? And also, you talked about reading a little bit more. I didn't know if there was any particular book that stuck out that you'd recommend, or that kind of really kind of hit you hard that you've read recently.
Yeah, definitely not wearing sleeves. It's just been the thing here. Devontae and Cobb can probably dive more into that conversation of that's just been the thing. And I don't have much of a say so, I guess, when it comes to things like that, which is fine. I mean, I love it. I never really wore sleeves in college anyways, playing at Iowa State. So I'm used to the cold, obviously. Growing up in the Midwest, this is the life I've lived 26 years here on Earth. So it ain't nothing new to me from that, so to speak. But what was the second part again? I kind of lost it. Sorry.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, the book. Yeah, there's a few books. I'm not a big reader. For the longest time, I hate reading for the most part. I'd much rather be doing something with my hands and everything. So reading just kind of helps me just be present in the moment. Really kind of focus in on what I'm reading, trying to retract as much information as I can. Lately, I've been reading this book called Karma. It's like the yogi's way to a better life or something like that. It's by this guy named Sadhguru, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's a guru from India. He's had a lot of good things, but just kind of just understanding life, understanding, putting your intentions out there, and that way, so to speak. There's another book I've read called I Am by Howard Falco. I think I picked that up during quarantine, actually. One of my friends recommended it. I was actually able to meet Howard Falco down in Scottsdale, Arizona a few years ago. And I was lucky enough to spend some time with him this offseason, and just be able to enjoy his conversation of just understanding just a deeper presence of life and everything, of understanding on how to go about things, why things happen, and then how to just, maneuver throughout life. So those are two books that I've really honed in on the past year or so. But yeah, I definitely enjoy reading. I wish I would read more. A guy like Aaron, who has his own book club and everything, like that's something I'm jealous of. I know I want to get there one day, but slowly but surely. For me, it's like, reading is something I'm not super passionate about or anything, but it's definitely something I know that benefits me, and it helps me advance as a person, which consequently helps me advance as a player as well. I think so. For me, whenever I'm trying to change my habits, my routines, or just, add better things to my life, I'm very slow with it. It's a very monotonous process, I think, but it's just one way that I'm able to accept it and to help me digest it and implement it more in my life that way, rather than just, going cold turkey, or just, wake up and this is exactly how the routine is every day or every week from here on out. So just the way I like to go about things.
Last one for you, Allen. Ryan Wood.
Hey, two quick things. One, you said that you have discovered that it's important for you to go to bed at the right time, get up at the right time. How much sleep do you need to function at your peak performance? And then secondly, you mentioned the Rams game, being upset with the way you played. You've had really big games in your career before that Rams game. You've had 2 catch 13-yard games in your career before that. What was it about that Rams game that left that taste?
Just the opportunities that I just left out there. There's a few plays where the ball just went right through my hands. I wasn't seeing it well. Didn't have my steps right. I didn't feel comfortable running these routes. Going back to that time period, it was I believe that was my first game back after I had gotten injured the week or 2 weeks before. In the Seattle game, I took the Vikings week off. It was our first home game back. And so it was just, a lot of different things. At that point in time, I had maybe had 20 reps with Aaron get on for practice and in the game as well combined, as far as him throwing me the ball. During that time period, he obviously, was out for a little bit. I got hurt. He wasn't practicing. So it was just, the whole month of November, late October was just kind of really funky, I think, for everybody in this building. And, during that time period, that's just like, kind of what I talked about earlier. It's just realizing that there's going to be more opportunities that present itself and just being ready for those moments. Obviously, I wasn't happy with my performance, but there's nothing I could do to change it. So I had that bye week to get healthy, reset my mind mentally, and just kind of be able to look at the bigger picture being the rest of the season. At that point, I think we had, 6 more games than knowing the playoffs here. So it's like, all right, we got about 2.5 more months of football left. What do I need to do to go about things to be able to get the most out of these next 2.5 months, rather than just feeling like, oh, like the season is just so far gone or so far away from ending. I'm just taking it week by week, day by day. One of my best friends, Ryan, who actually I started this brand called At the Top with, he came up with this chart, this discipline chart, and it helped him be a better player, be a better coach, be a better leader within his business and everything. And so he kind of shared that knowledge with me on, this discipline chart and kind of giving himself a grade. And I implemented that in my life. I did a little bit this summer. And then during that bye week, I was like, all right, I need to go back to this, because when I was following this discipline chart, a lot of things in life were aligned with that I wanted them to be. So I went back to that, and I've obviously had a lot of great production since.
And the sleep was one of them?
Sleep was huge. You asked how many hours. Man, 8, obviously. That's what the doctors, what they say. I think the closest I can get to 8, the better. But truthfully, I think about 6 hours is probably all I really need. I don't like sleeping because I just like to be awake. I like to be active. I like to be progressing. And to me, like, falling asleep is just like, it's a hassle in a sense. Like, I don't want to go to sleep. I'd much rather be up doing something else. And then when I am asleep, it's like, as soon as I wake up that first time, I'm not trying to go back to sleep more so, even though sometimes I am, obviously, just to get some more rest, but my brain is already up, ready to go attack the day. So, just kind of playing around with that. Back in college, Coach Campbell I can't remember his name. He was an O lineman from Ohio State, and I believe he played in the league for a little bit. So it would have been like the 2000s era is when he played. But I remember talking to him. He came and talked to me. He said, the one thing that stuck out with the conversation that we had is that all you have to do is just wake up at the same time every single day. And at the time in college, being a younger kid, it's kind of hard to accept that belief and everything. But when I really did, and I started waking up at 6:45, 7 o'clock, whatever it was back then, and I've obviously adjusted it throughout my life since then. But just waking up at a consistent time has just put me on a circadian rhythm. And the more that I've read and the more that I've studied about my body, just about life in general, just kind of seeing on how that thing carries over and how it helps me throughout the rest of my day and everything else. So just being on a routine of just waking up, going to sleep, those 2 things, I think, just handling the little details throughout my daily life have helped me tremendously on, the bigger things that I've been challenged with.